Uh, had to do this anyway, so it's my birthday, man. Turned 41. I'm turning 41 today, so a lot of people could be wherever these people are in the chat, man. Go ahead and wish me happy birthday or something. No more that Omega 69 bullshit. Just like some people needs to, like, some people can already knew who I was. But my cousin Matthew is probably gonna be watching. He can go ahead and go into my chat and wish me go into my chat and wish me happy birthday, so he can be ready for it. On this live show, we're going to talk about the People magazine, and that's what they're investigating. Inside the trial of Lorraine Vallow, did she murder her kids? Why did police say that happened to J.J. Vallow and Tylee Ryan? The secrets to her doomsday cult beliefs. Did she plot with her husband Chad Daybell to kill his first wife from a marriage previously? So, but in this book here, I'm going to show you what's really going on with the trial. Look at how cold and calculating this woman is. Look at Lorraine Vallow. Is she a mother? Or is she a prophet? Or she's a killer? Look at that face. This woman looks like somebody who came from a goddamn commercial. That the prosecutors say what the prosecutors have said that she masterminded the murders of her children. Tylee Ryan, Tylee Ryan and Joshua J.J. Vallow is now in Idaho. An Idaho jury is deciding her fate. It's all written by Johnny Dodd. Johnny Dodd had written this anyway. So this is her. Let me explain this here. This is her two children, Joshua and Tylee. This is those two before. This is before their mother killed them. It's inside this trial here. I'm going to have to read this to y'all, and you might go find, you know, grisly and grim. Just after 8:30, was it? Just after 8:30 a.m. every weekday morning since April the 3rd. Lori Vallow, Daybell, 49-year-old Lori Daybell Vallow. Look, I forgot. I got it mixed up. Lori Vallow Daybell, 49 years old, enters the fourth floor courtroom in downtown Boise, Idaho, wearing a black rimmed glasses, slacks, and a blouse or a sweater. The confident grin she flashed to cameras back in 2019. As she walked away from the reporters yelling out questions as to the whereabouts of her then missing kids, Tylee Ryan and Joshua J.J. Vallow, ages 16 and 7, has vanished. Yet at first glance, she looks like she could be a mom heading out to pick up her kids at soccer practice after a long day at the office. Up until the moment court officers shackled both of her legs to the floor. Lori is at the Ada County Courthouse in Boise, on trial for the murders of Tylee and JJ, as well as for conspiracy to kill Tammy Daybell, who's around the age range as Chad. As Chad, I mean, not it's not around the same age as Chad Daybell. Why do you think that's gonna happen? Oh, as well as for the conspiracy to kill Tammy Daybell, who was around Lori's age. Tammy Daybell is around the same age as Lori Vallow Daybell. They're around the same age. Those two women might be pushing 50 for all I know. Lori has pleaded not guilty. Now I don't know why they said that. That the jury had already did this by pleading her not guilty, or what did she what did she did is pure evil. The Vallows family friend said this. The family is still in shock. I don't know how Lori looks herself in the mirror. The coming weeks will undoubtedly be even more unsettling for those who thought they knew Lori as a devoutly religious mom and a devoted wife to Chad. A self-published author, the prosecutors plan to prove that Lori and Chad's life together revolved. Yeah, together. Revolved around a small doomsday cult that believed in preparing for the imminent end of the world and eliminating people whose spirits had turned dark. Chad, who has also pleaded not guilty to all charges. That's for killing Tammy. All charges will be tried separately. For weeks, jurors in the packed courtroom have seemed riveted by testimony from witnesses about evil spirits and zombies. That's right, evil spirits and zombies, and evidence presented by prosecutors, including text messages and recorded phone conversations detailing the couple's fixation with the end of times. The courtroom was silent, and as jurors had studied the photographs that had been taken by the investigators, who had discovered the remains of Tylee Ryan and Joshua J.J. Vallow, buried near a pet cemetery on the property of her husband Chad Daybell, outside Rexburg, Idaho. It's outside of a town that was in Rexburg, Idaho. There's money, power, and sex. This is what this case is about. Fremont County prosecuting attorney Lindsay Blake said in the opening statements that the defendant used money, power, and sex, or the promise of those things to get what she wanted. It didn't matter. It didn't matter what obstacle that she had to remove. Well, there's some concerns for the well-being of those two kids, Tylee and JJ. Well, JJ and Tylee, most of all. Set the investigation into Lori and Chad in motion in late 2019. JJ's paternal grandparents, Larry and Kay Woodcock, who had to be who happened to be residents of Lake Charles, Louisiana. Well, my cousin Matthews had already moved away from Lake Charles and moved to another town. Maybe Church Point. I don't even know. Yeah, that's right. I'm gonna read this again. JJ's paternal grandparents, Larry and Kay Woodcock of Lake Charles, Louisiana, had been unable to reach him for a regularly scheduled FaceTime calls for more than a month. During often emotional testimony, Kay is describing begging Lori to tell her JJ's whereabouts before reporting the boy, my beautiful grandson. She tearfully called him missing to police in Rexburg. Well, that's outside of, you know, uh Chad uh Chad Daybell's property. That was in Chad Daybell's property, I think. Where Lori and Chad were living. Well, it's the property. As the authorities had started launching a search for little JJ, other friends and family members had become worried and concerned about Lori's teenage daughter, her oldest daughter, Tylee Ryan, who authorities say last seen alive at the Yellowstone National Park on September the 8th, 2019. Yeah, on September 8th, 2019. This is like this was months before the case. This was months before, you know what I mean? All this have happened. Zelema Pastines, who was briefly married to Lori's brother Alex Cox, told jurors about the day she confronted Lori about Tylee's disappearance, and was told she had to be free. When Pastines asking Lori when Pastines is asking Lori to explain what has she meant by that, Lori lifted her hand and put it up to my face and said, "Don't ask." Pastines Pastines said during an ensuing welfare check on Tylee, you know, the teenage Tylee Ryan and the 7-year-old young Joshua. They call him JJ. Lori seemed suspiciously unconcerned about the disappearance of her children. A police officer had testified under oath. On the witness stand on April 13th, Lori's former best friend Melanie Gibb recalled watching as Lori and Chad, who were both married to other spouses, when they met at a religious conference in 2018, grew closer. It grew closer and became romantic. Gibb told jurors that Lori had referred to her children as zombies. What did Lori mean by zombies? And told her that both had gone dark in late 2019. Lori told police that JJ was staying with Gibb. who was her friend. In Arizona, a recorded phone conversation between the two captured the moment Gibb confronted Lori for lying to the police and demanded to know where JJ was. Is he? I've been asking. Where is he? says Gibb. Says Gibb. Lori responds, I could tell everything where JJ is right now. That would not be good for JJ. On February 20th, 2020, this was before the COVID-19 thing happened. This was before the COVID-19 pandemic happened. Lori who had left Idaho with Chad after refusing to cooperate in the investigation of her missing kids. Was arrested in Kauai, Hawaii, for failing to meet a court order to produce her children. Almost 4 months later, the question that had haunted family members was finally answered. Was finally answered when investigators are discovering the remains of JJ and Tylee buried in shallow graves in the backyard of Chad's home in let me see here. Let me see here. Yep, Rexburg, Rexburg, in Rexburg, I think. Police detective, yeah, police detective goes by the name of Raymond Hermosillo, provided disturbing testimony about finding the tiny body of Joshua, bound by duct tape and wrapped in a black trash bag. His what I forgot. Let me rephrase. His pajamas were soaked with body decomposition. Body decomposition. He still had on his pull-up nighttime diaper. It was like a Huggies. It was like a Huggies branded diaper. It's a nighttime diaper. Kids wear these diapers all the time. Hermosillo, that's one name. Detective Hermosillo's testimony, accompanied by post-mortem photographs. Yes, post-mortem photographs that was so disturbing that Lori's attorney, James Archibald, asking the judge to waive Lori's presence at the trial for the remainder of the day. The judge quickly denied the request, and Hermosillo continued to detail how he'd found what remained of Tylee in a melted green plastic bucket buried in the yard. Police were on their hands and knees digging up burnt flesh, decomposing bones. Hermosillo said this: the smell was so bad we had to take turns digging. Prosecutors prosecutors also revealing that Tammy, whose death at the Daybell home residence on October the 19th, 2019, was originally attributed to natural causes, died by asphyxiation. By asphyxiation. That's the word? Asphyxiation? Yep. According to an autopsy conducted after her body was exhumed, that what's the word? What's the word that I gotta look for? That revelation made the subsequent testimony of Kay Woodcock, whose brother Charles Vallow, whose brother Charles Vallow was fourth husband, Lori's fourth husband you know, until he was fatally shot by Alex Cox, Lori Cox's brother. Lori Cox's brother. See the box. Even more chilling, Kay described how she was using her deceased brother's computer equipment 3 months after his death, and stumbled upon the search history of the Amazon shopping account he shared with Lori. With Lori. Yeah, everybody knows that. I what's it saying? I was there, was browsing for a beach wedding dress, a bathing suit, a malachite wedding rings. That's the word. Malachite wedding rings. What do you do what do you do with a beach wedding dress that you have seen browsing for, a bathing suit, and some wedding rings, like malachite wedding rings? That was for the wedding ceremony. That's what KF said. KF said this, adding that she was sickened to realize that Lori had been shopping for her wedding nearly 3 weeks before the death of Chad's then wife Tammy. Yeah, the death of Chad's then spouse Tammy. While Lori's brother while Lori's brother Alex died in December of 2019, reportedly of natural causes, his whereabouts at the time of JJ and Tylee's murders, the JJ and Tylee's murders, are playing a prominent role in the trial. The defense attorney told the jurors that. Oh, let me read this shit. Let me read this shit because I came and comprehend. The defense attorney told the jurors that Lori was at her Rexburg apartment in Rexburg, when her children died in a nearby apartment belonging to uh her brother Alex Cox. Her brother Alex Cox. The FBI had previously determining that the cell phone data is placing Cox at the locations where JJ's and Tylee's bodies were buried around the time the kids disappeared in September of that year. And during the testimony, her testimony, Cox's widow Pastens had describing how weeks before his death, before his untimely demise, Cox has grown upset that Lori and Chad had stopped communicating with him. They have stopped communicating with Cox. Why? He told me, can you believe they're being such jerks? Is that word being thrown? Jerks. That's the shit that the white people call each other. JERKS. Jerks. That's how these kids call each other. Jerks. That's how grown men do. Act like a bunch of fucking kids. Yeah. Can you believe they're being such jerks after how much I helped them? How much I helped them? She testified. She had testified the day before he died. He told her, I think I'm being their fall guy. In the coming weeks, prosecutors will continue building a circumstantial case against Lori. What prosecutors have to prove here, explains the criminal defense lawyer and former Idaho attorney general by the name of David Leroy. Is that Lori? Though perhaps not present when these three people were killed, was sufficiently complicit in conspiring, organizing, and arranging the homicides. That's exactly what Larry Woodcock, JJ's grandfather. That's what Larry Woodcock, Joshua's grandfather, had wanted. This is not just about Tylee and JJ. Larry told reporters on a recent afternoon outside the courthouse in Idaho. In Idaho, this is also about Charles and Tammy. This is about justice. You see here's we'll go right on back here. We see here there's a picture of Tylee and Joshua memorialized on a banner, in Salem. There's a picture of the investigators excavating the Daybell's backyard in Salem on June 9th of 2020, and recovering the burned remains of Tylee and found Joshua J.J. Vallow's body wrapped in plastic and duct tape. The date they were killed is unknown. There's a picture of the storage unit, the storage space that Lori had rented in Rexburg. Right inside it, right inside, the police found uh the bicycles that belonged to you know her two missing kids who have later died. It was on the right. It's right inside this storage space, along with a box. It goes along with a box, I think. It's a picture of Chad and it's a picture of Chad Daybell and his first wife. His first wife Tammy Daybell. Tammy Daybell. Well, she was last seen wearing this T-shirt, this gray T-shirt. Says Pete's the cat, and had this, and he had the bowl with the goldfish in it. A plot to kill. The prosecutors had said that Lori helped orchestrate the 2019 murder of Tammy Daybell, Chad's first wife that he had fell in love with. He fell in love with. Yep, because Lori had fallen in love with Chad and wanted to marry him. They also contend that Chad had recently boosted Tammy's life insurance to receive the maximum possible payout, said Fremont County prosecuting attorney Lindsey Blake on April the 10th. Tammy had life insurance. Tammy had life insurance. Lori wanted Chad all to herself. like that mind mentality. Tammy's gone. Tammy's gone. She's out. She's out of the picture. See the other pictures they had read to y'all here. There's a photo of Lori in court three years ago on the day after her Hawaii arrest. The trial is opening old wounds. The trial is opening up the old wounds, and you trying to put salt in them. Says a family says a friend of the Daybell family. Yeah, that's what's been said by a friend of the Daybell family. So this picture right here. Trial begins. So media gathered in front of the Ada County Courthouse in Boise on April the 3rd. Well, that was going to be in if it was 2020. I do not know of. No, it was previously. I don't know. The first day of jury selection in Lori's murder trial, or probably April 3rd of this year. I don't even know. I gotta find this out. Oh, that's probably 2019. I don't even know. The first day of the jury selection in Lori's murder trial. They got other deaths. Before Lori Vallow and Chad Daybell were charged with murdering Lori's kids and Chad's wife, other people close to Lori, her brother Alex Cox and husband number 4, Charles Vallow, died in circumstances yet to be fully explained. There's a photo of Alex. He was extremely close to his younger sister Lori at her murder trial. His widow Zulema Pastines, a cult member, he had married less than 2 weeks before he died on December 2019, December 12th of that year. I feel it was in 2019. Told the jurors that their leader, Chad Daybell, once described Cox as the group's warrior. The group's warrior, a person willing to fight to protect them. According to autopsy results, Cox died from a heart attack, but Pastines said that he spent his last days worried about his fate. Charles Vallow, 63 years old, above with Lori, was fatally shot by Alex Cox, Lori's brother, at her house in Chandler, Arizona, on July 11th, 2019. Cox told police he fired at Vallow in self-defense. Nobody wants to buy into that self-defense bullshit. I'm telling you what now. Nobody wants to buy into that self-defense act. It was on purpose that he had done that to Charles. Alex is a cold-blooded murderer, dude. He killed Charles just for some sort of revenge. Why? When Vallow came after Alex, when Vallow came after Cox with a baseball bat, but after the deaths of Tylee and JJ. Yeah, that was back in 2019. Authorities in Arizona reopened the investigation of Vallow's death and ruled it a homicide. There's a drawing of Lori Vallow and two of her attorneys. They're going through some paperwork. I think it was drawn from April 7th. That drawing was shown since April the 7th by somebody else. That's a sketch. It was like a sketch. It's a whole thing. It was a sketch. They drew this because it was like a sketch. They're not allowing no photographs or no videos. None. They're not allowing that shit. They're not allowing this shit. But I'm gonna move on and play my I'm gonna go jump back into Far Cry Primal because I'm gonna take my chances and handle some business. So I just got back from hand washing my whatchamacallit. You know what I mean? My Nike shoes, my socks, my jacket, my Nike jacket. You know what I mean? They got wet in the rain previous Saturday. I had my t-shirt, but well, it got hit by the rain, so it got hit by the rain, by all that heavy ass rainfall. All the jerk asses at the National Weather Service didn't want to keep fucking pulling around with the rain, and then he just wanted to let it get cold again. It's about to get hot by a couple of months anyway. But now at the age of 40 and 41, I had to know what really happens when people do heinous and stupid and bitchy things like this, by killing their kids just to get their way things. We can take a look at this Lori Vallow chick. Look at this woman. This woman kind of remind me of some real person from a goddamn commercial. Look at this woman. Look at that face. She look like somebody who had done a goddamn commercial for for something else. Lori Vallow is a murderer. She is a terrible parent. Hope to God she will rot in fucking prison for the rest of her natural life in some years, a couple years. Hope she rot. Hope she rot for getting her husband, her previous husband, Charles Vallow, murdered. She could have rot. She could rot for having her own children killed, and she's gonna rot for having for having for having for having her husband's wife murdered. That bitch doesn't give a fuck if this bitch doesn't give a fuck if Charles Vallow had to die. She doesn't give a fuck if her daughter and son had to die. She doesn't give a fuck if she doesn't give a fuck if her husband's first wife had to die. And and she doesn't give a fuck if her brother Alex Cox had to die. She don't care if she had to, if she didn't give a fuck. She doesn't give a fuck if she had to go to jail. She's gonna have to go. She had to go. She had to go. She had to go. She had to go. You know what I mean? The only way that she could do is go to prison and stay locked up and never getting the fuck out of there. But the grandparents, they're gonna start memorializing these kids anyway. Yeah, that boy, his grandparents is going to memorialize him. Memorialize. Well, that's what happened. The grandparents are going to be memorializing their grandson and his sister in that way, in a public way, since 2019. I got Sunday May 7th coming. I'm not gonna do no more live shows on Jared Coleman and Kobe Shaw. I already did a live show based on them last year. But on May 7th, it's different than Jared and Corey. It's just different than Jared and Corey. On May 7th, I'm gonna do a live show. I'm gonna show you here. But on May 7th, as I'm gonna have to do a live show, I'm gonna do a live show based on the legendary Owen James Hart, who have died from a fall that was gone horribly, from a stunt that goes horribly bad and wrong. We'll take you a look at the picture of Owen Hart. This is where this is what changed things. The death of Owen Hart. How the fall at WWF Over the Edge 1999. Let me explain it to y'all here. I'm gonna block it in. Yep, Owen Hart's death. How the fall at Over the Edge on Over the Edge changed the wrestling business. That's why I explained. How could it change the wrestling business? Oh man. See the one in this picture who was witnessing the fall in a stunt that goes horribly bad and wrong is wrestling legend Jerry the King Lawler, who was later calling the match and commentating at the pay-per-view that night. It was on May the 24th of 1999. The medics are tending to Hart. You see three medical technicians tending to Hart as he dove from that, as he fell. It was when that stunt that got him bad. So, but May 7th, you go ahead to witness what I'm going to read to you people on YouTube. It's going to be the birthday celebration of Owen Hart. Who was a native coming from Calgary, Alberta, Canada. You know, who's been working for several promotions like the WWF, the WCW, and New Japan Pro Wrestling, which that AEW had already shown footage of before he died. Well, May 6th, May 6th, Backlash is coming up. May 6th, WWE Backlash, it's going to be in Puerto Rico. It's going to be in Puerto Rico. When Bad Bunny is no longer hosting it. We'll say he's going to be. We'll say he's going to be a competitor against his old best friend Damian Priest. It's going to be a street fight. It's the same one, street fight. So yeah, we're gonna go straight in. I'm gonna jump back into to Far Cry Primal and see what I'm going to do today. Okay. We'll do that. We'll do that on May 7th. I'm gonna be on hiatus for like how many I don't know how many days I'm gonna be on hiatus. Okay, it's okay, it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I'm gonna be on hiatus again for 5 days until Sunday, until May 7th. Also, it's gonna be on Sunday morning. It's gonna be on Sunday morning when I have to get up and do this live show based on Owen Hart. Uh, see you guys on May 7th. For the birthday celebration of Owen Hart.